Hello, everyone. I am Julia Carlson, CEO and founder here at Financial Freedom Wealth Management Group. And today we are going to talk about why it's important to build that emergency fund. A lot of Americans out there don't have an emergency fund. And when emergencies arise, as they inevitably will, they're forced to rely on credit cards, which usually snowballs the debt problem facing a lot of Americans today. So it's crucial to get ahead of that, to think about building your emergency fund. So let's talk about that. Number one, why it's important is we are going to have emergencies. And it seems like when you have a built emergency fund, those emergencies are just challenges. You know, they're just things that go wrong. They're kind of annoying and you can just take care of it because you're prepared. But when you're not prepared, like I shared in the beginning, you know, it's more of a problem, and that urgency takes over and stress and worry. So we want you to be prepared for the unexpected. All right, so the first question we get asked is, how much money should I have in my emergency fund? Well, there's no one right answer. It's different for everyone based on their predictability of income. It could be based on how they feel risk-wise. So some people may feel better with a lot more money sitting in the bank, where others don't want as much. As a standard, if you will, or a place to start considering, is usually you want about 3 to 6 months of expenses available to you. So if you spend $5,000 a month in your family, then you at a minimum would want $15,000, 3 months of $5,000, up to double that, so $30,000 saved in your emergency fund. So then the next question we get is, where should I keep that emergency fund? That seems like a lot of money just to be sitting in my checking account. Yes, don't leave it in your checking account. We would encourage you to set up a savings account for that money. So usually I recommend just keeping it at your local bank that you have your checking account in. Keep your savings account, your emergency fund there as well. It's not exciting. We're not earning much on our savings accounts these days. But here's the deal. It allows us to be a good investor. And what I mean by that is, if you have a good emergency fund and a challenge comes up and you need that money, you just go to your savings, you go to your emergency fund, you take the money, and then you work to rebuild it. You're not forced to touch your long-term investments. So now investments are down, and it would be a really bad time to have to sell those investments for an emergency that arises. So having that emergency fund allows us to be a good investor and save and not be forced to sell when the market's low like it is. Let's see. If 15,000 or 30,000 feels like a lot of money, then I would start with a smaller goal. So if you're just starting out, maybe it's $1,000 that you want to get to, or $5,000. So start with those baby steps and then incrementally work up as you go. We would encourage you to set up an automatic savings from your checking to your savings. So let's say you get paid on the 15th of every month. Have $100 go over to your savings account. It's kind of out of sight, out of mind. And if you set it up automatically, you'll be surprised at how fast you can build that emergency fund. So don't get overwhelmed with a big number. Start small, build that up as you go, and as the months go by. Let's see, unexpected expenses will happen. So the idea again is to have that emergency fund built. And so those unexpected emergencies just become challenges that you have to overcome, that you can pay for, that you can get through. It will really, just having that emergency fund brings peace of mind, and it allows us to alleviate stress and the worry, because we have that to kind of fall back on. Another question we get asked that I thought I would talk about is, if I'm retired, do I need an emergency fund? So we would say, yes, you do. Things come up just like in working life, in your retired life. And again, keeping that money in your savings allows you to be that good investor, keep those retirement accounts growing and going with the markets, going with the ebbs and flows of that. And it brings you options. Essentially, you don't have to be forced to sell your investments when they're low. All right, I hope that is helpful. If you have any questions, you can put those in the comments below. We're very active here on social media, and we'll continue to be bringing you really great tips around financial literacy, around investing, personal finance, all under the finance umbrella. We are committed to care deeply about our clients and their financial lives, and part of that is equipping you with the education around money. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time.